So this video is going to look at Piaget's theory of egocentrism. Now, on your specification, you've got to understand about the reduction of egocentricity and also Hughes' policeman doll study. So again, another study named on your specification, which means we've got to know it in a lot of depth. Now, for Piaget, he came up with this idea of egocentrism. This is the idea that we see the world only from one's own point of view. And Piaget said that this happens a lot in young children, again, under the age of 7. And Piaget managed to demonstrate this in something called his 3 mountains task. So we're going to go through that really quickly. So children were shown 3 different mountains. You've got one there with a house, one with snow-capped mountains, one with a cross on top. And they were asked, what would the doll see? And they were given these options below. And young children just couldn't do it. They'd only say what they would have seen rather than what the doll would have seen. So it wasn't until 7 years of age that children were able to answer it consistently. So again, it shows that children are only able to see the world from their point of view. And again, it shows us a unique way that children think of the world and how they think differently than adults. So we're going to look at this study. The aim of the policeman doll study was, would children have less difficulty if the task made more sense to them? So Hughes had this idea that the 3 mountains task didn't really relate to children at all. They weren't really dealing with mountains or having to understand mountains. So he tried to come up with a different way of conducting this study. So this is the method of the study. We've got a few little pictures here on the right that we're going to talk through. So 30 children, again, all from Edinburgh, like the previous video. All aged from 3.5 years to 5 years, took part in a laboratory study. Now, Hughes tested egocentrism using a model of 2 intersecting walls. So you can see in that top image there are these 2 walls that cross. There's a baby doll and 2 police dolls. So to introduce the task, we're going to look at that top image there. A police doll was placed on one model, and each child was asked to hide the boy doll from the police doll. So where could you put that doll so the police doll didn't see it? So you'll be thinking they're going to hopefully put it in A or C in that top image. If a child was wrong or they got it wrong, then they're told they made a mistake and they were allowed to try the task again. So they really understood what they had to do. And then in the actual experiment, a second police doll was placed in a model, like you can see in that bottom image there, and the child was asked to hide the doll so neither police doll could see him. And like you see, that child there has done it correctly. Now, the results of the study. 90% of the children in this study, so remember from age 3.5 to 5, were able to hide the doll from the policeman dolls. Now, in the following trials, where more than 2 walls were used, so we used a variety of different walls, younger children were only correct about 60% of the time. So the conclusion of this study? Well, Hughes concluded that most children between the age of 3.5 and 5 can see things from another person's viewpoint, so are not egocentric in their thinking. They don't just look at the world from their own point of view. And again, it shows us that Piaget underestimated young children's abilities.